I'm not even sure whether I'm still engaged.
Oh, this is just reminding me of Daddy, I want another pony.
Worry her. To be open with her. No, seriously. But
Worry your wife.
Why does grow up come to mind?
Tim needs to get in the bin.
You're through to 1-800-DRAMA.
The show where you share your biggest dilemmas.
And we help you navigate them.
I'm Shaaba.
And I'm Jamie.
Come join us as we help people figure out if they are the drama.
Because sometimes you just need an outside perspective.
And we can all expand our own mindsets along the way.
Wait, am I the drama? Socks and slippers, Shaaba.
Why did you have to bring this one up? A big red flag. Big red flag.
I disagree.
Big red flag. Jamie does this all the time, and it's the one thing that makes me contemplate divorce on a regular basis. No, that's how she doesn't. But it really bugs me.
I'm literally doing it right now.
Oh,
do you want to see?
God. No,
Look at these sexy socks, not sandals, slipper combo.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
No, I tell you what though, we say that would be bad. I am all here for a socks and a jelly shoes moment.
Do you know, I don't hate socks and like sliders, or there's certain, or like socks and sandals with cargo baggy shorts.
It's the dad.
It's the
vibe,
dad vibe.
It's the white dad on holiday, not respecting the culture of that they're visiting.
Just not respecting fashion, Shaaba.
No, but like he talks more than their fashion. It insinuates a person with stereotypes and the values that, just blows my mind.
Bringing it back to socks and slippers,
Mate.
I need to plead my case here. My feet get freezing. The only thing that keeps them warm is socks and then a slipper on top. And also, I have slippers that don't have any heel. How do you expect my heel to stay warm when the slipper isn't even on it?
Do you know what else socks and slippers do?
What?
They create cheese!
So do just slippers.
Cheesy, horrible smells.
Do you know what smells the worst in this house? Your slipper socks that you only wear on their own. They stink.
You know what? A slipper sock is the perfect combination. You don't need slippers and socks if you've got a slipper sock. And you can put them in the wash.
To be fair,
you make your slippers smell so bad because you've got all your sweaty layers.
I could spray them. I would wear socks, slipper socks and slippers if it were really cold.
He's actually done that.
Shaaba told me off.
It's not okay. You're going to get like fungal infections, dude.
Who is the drama? I feel like this is a big one for us. It's very personal. Is Shaaba the drama for just not letting me live my life and keep my toes warm, or am I the drama for wearing multiple layers on my feet?
You do that, but if you need to then go and see the GP because you've got some foot mushroom farm growing, or if you have any particularly smelly things
every day, I wash my feet and I air them out all night. They are fine.
3 layers, babe. 3 layers between your toesies. And you are doing it to generate so much heat.
It's mostly 2 layers.
You can choose to die on this hill.
I can't feel my right big toe. That's how cold it is right now with socks and slippers.
You need heated slippers.
Yes, I have a circulation issue.
Is that what it is?
I have very bad circulation.
We need to find you some heated slippers then, seriously.
No, because then that does get too warm.
The layers are not
I think we need to move on from this.
Agree
to disagree. I still love you. Moving on.
Oh, drama. Are we ready to go fishing for the
drama? Yes, we're ready to go fishing for some drama, Shaaba.
Let's go.
Am I the drama for changing the wedding venue my fiancé chose to something more flashy as a surprise?
For listeners, I think you should know that Jamie just, in pure horror, gripped my knee so tight. Why is this so shocking to you?
It's not so shocking. I just I couldn't imagine either of us doing that to the other. A wedding venue, I feel like personally is so fundamental to be chosen between the couple unless there's a pre-spoken arrangement that somebody is like, you know what, babe, I'm so chill with whatever, I want you to pick your dream venue.
Or unless you're on Don't Tell the Bride.
Or unless you're on Don't Tell the Bride.
I think that there are 2 types of people in the world. There's
those who pick wedding venues and those who don't.
No. Those who, or I should say, there are 2 types of couples in the world.
Those who communicate.
Those who go into weddings as a joint thing and parties and events as a joint thing, and those who really have one very dominating over the other. I feel like people would assume that we're the second, Shaaba must do all the parties, blah blah blah. She's so loud, blah blah blah. But actually, you would be surprised. You have a lot to say. In terms of weddings and wedding planning, you knew exactly what you wanted too. Like, you were like, I would really love this to be a colour that's involved. Yeah, the one thing I remember, Jamie was so intent on Shivari chairs. I've never known someone to be so determined. He's like, I want Shivari chairs. I was like, what is a Shivari chair?
I have a really big thing against those old-fashioned squishy banqueting chairs with the stretchy covers that go all the way down to the legs.
I'm not
having the Shivari. The little wooden. They're just nice.
I agree. I
they're
like
clean and elegant and simple and not covered in a stretchy fabric.
What I'm saying is, I quite enjoyed the fact that we could do it together and you were very involved. But I definitely know that there are a lot of relationships out there. I was
a vocal groom.
Yeah, but where regardless of gender, they're like, you know what, you do it.
One
I actually
person,
don't care.
doesn't
you
mind.
choose the cake, you choose the colour, this is what makes you happy, you go for it, Glen Coco.
But where I'm interested on this one and why I gripped your leg is because I don't know what the gender of the couple is or whatever and who picked what first, but it's saying somebody chose a venue and then the other person, without consulting their partner, changed that choice.
Well, why don't we read about it? Because if they both chose a venue together and then one of them is changing it, but if one chose and then the other one didn't then,
talk to each other.
Should we get into the story? We're really
ripping it on the title.
You have some opinions today.
I've come like a little jalapeno.
I'm here for it, my little white jalapeno. Okay, I'm a 25-year-old man, says OP, and I'm marrying a 24-year-old woman this October. Congratulations on your upcoming nuptials. We both have very large families, but hers is really poor and kind of traditional.
Okay.
That's just really interesting. She's really poor and kind of traditional. Okay, as a result, my fiancé has been taught to always go for the cheapest option throughout her life, whether we're going to eat out or buying clothes or going on holiday.
Sounds like you.
This actually sounds like us.
Yeah.
Jamie came from a significantly more well-off family.
Yeah.
I grew up always very cost conscious.
Yeah, like we would Skype back in the old days and I could see your breath because no heating was on and
to be fair, my mum still does that now. She's like, no, we don't pay for electricity here. I think that's more of an Asian thing as well.
But also the attitude of we must save money. Which,
yes, that's
and I still see it in you now. You're so scared.
I do think we've changed.
You're getting better.
You have gotten better at saving and being more cost conscious. We're meeting in the middle, and I have been more free with cash. So,
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've been planning the wedding, and the choice of venue was typical for her, a small local church where she was christened. Right off the bat, the place isn't suitable for the number of guests who will be invited, and I knew she only chose that location because of money, which is not an issue.
So money is now not an issue for this couple, but she has grown up with it being an issue. It's very difficult to change that mindset. I would say, though, a small local church where she was christened sounds quite sentimental.
That's what I was going to say. How sure are you, OP, that this is definitely just a money issue? Because you're right. That sounds like there's an investment there.
Yeah.
There's a history with the place. And I mean, we didn't do a church wedding. I think churches are beautiful buildings, but they don't really mean anything to me.
No, yeah.
But I can so see why I've seen it a lot with couples who do church weddings. They're like, no, I want to be here. Even because sometimes if they've got grandparents buried there, it means that in some way they can have
the church
that
has
feeling and that presence
familial
of, these people also being with them to celebrate, etc., etc. Maybe their parents have been at the church.
Absolutely.
All right, let's read on. I spoke to my father, and he agreed to fund a wedding abroad in Venice. Oh la la! I'm their only child, so getting married is a big deal, and to arrange transportation for all of the guests.
That is spenny.
That is spenny, dude. He agrees to cover all expenses.
Wow.
So obviously, says OP, I changed the venue and sent out invitations.
Without talking to her.
That's
bananas. So bizarre.
You don't do that.
Do you know what I'd struggle with? I'm like, even if that's a nice thing, for a surprise birthday party that you are planning for me, wonderful. Do it. Don't tell me what's happening. Although, I would like to know if we're going abroad. Just saying, But your wedding, you can't just change it completely and send out new invites without talking to the person you were married. What if she didn't like Venice?
I'm not sure it's new invites. I think it's the invites.
Oh, you can't then send out the invites that have information on that not both of you have agreed to.
At the minute, I will say, I think both of them, from what OP's saying, are kind of being a bit dodge. Who is she, to be fair, at the beginning, to just be like, she chose this venue, and you're like, right off the bat, this isn't okay. This doesn't sound like a choice has happened. This sounds like she's gone, hey, I would so love to get married at this church, and you've gone, well, babe, Like, isn't this a discussion that you have? We have lots of guests. This church isn't big enough. What are we going to do from here? It doesn't sound like a decision was made. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now, like, sending out invites, that is such a big deal. You need to know timings. You need to know, like, supplier details. You need to know if the date's, like, good for everyone. And, like, you check with the people.
Yeah,
and
you
that's
do.
Not even just, like, dress codes. Things like...
The design, like even just what it looks like. There's so many things that couples would probably want to agree on.
Fund, or ask for a charity donation in your name, or ask for gifts?
Are you going to do a little poem?
A poem?
A poem?
Poem? Yeah, like the colour scheme.
Yeah.
You're right, there's so much
But
involved. Like, you can't
also,
just send out invites without having a conversation.
If her concern were money, I'm like, I know that if I'd come to you and I'd been like, look, my parents have offered to pay for all of it. If that had happened with us, like, I know that didn't happen, but like if they said we will pay for all of your wedding, and they've suggested it could be in Venice, you might be like, oh, I don't like the idea of an abroad wedding. That's so kind. If they are 100% sure and this is their gift and what they want to do, I know you'd struggle to accept it. But
I was going to say, I don't think
no,
I
don't think you could. But I feel that there could be a conversation where it's like that could alleviate her worry, and then they could choose as a couple, knowing that his parents have gifted them their wedding.
Do you know what? I actually take that back. Sorry, yes, I hear you. As you were talking,
thank you.
My
You had
ADHD
another brain thought.
was
I could
doing
see
another...
it. I saw your
You
brain
saw a
switch
buffering.
tracks. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm so sorry. I hear you.
Don't be sorry. Thank you. I feel so hard.
I'm working on it. Shaaba with ADHD is working on it. I take that back. I don't think I could outright say no, because a wedding is for both of us. It's not just my wedding, it's our wedding. And if that meant a
that
really
we
big
could
deal
have
to you,
the perfect wedding,
to have what you really wanted, and your family came with money, or, you know, like from money and with money, I guess, and we're like, hey, you know, like, let's
so I'm
do
just
this
imagining
really...
them driving a car made of money. Hello.
And, you know, like, let's do this because this is what we want to do for our child.
Yeah.
Like, our only child as well. Like, we've always expected a big lavish wedding. Who am I to be like, oh, no, just because I can't personally provide my half, we can't have this opportunity. I think that's quite damaging in its own way. So
there's a balance to be struck between kind of being rudely over eager at somebody's tentative help with money, and then being just like flat out, I don't want it. Even if that's what somebody wants to do and they are perfectly capable and comfortable to do that, then there's only so many times you can say no. You can be hesitant if you're uncomfortable, but if they want to gift it to you, you don't have to accept it.
But if it's coming from a sense of this is actually really important to me, then what I'm saying is the fact that you, or me in this situation, because that's hypothetical you ran with, me saying no just because I couldn't provide my half feels like a really odd...
I see what you're saying.
Stop, you know, to something that might be really important to other people.
Yeah.
That feels kind of selfish in its own way, you know?
Yeah.
So I rescind that, but I do really agree with your point. An abroad wedding is so different too. You might say that you can, you know, like, don't worry, we're covering all expenses. If you're going to fly out this huge family that you're talking about, you've got two very large families
I mean, that is money.
That is going to be money, but also there are other factors that aren't just money that people can be resource deficient, shall we say, with. Like, for example, work. How long is it going to take to fly out? What about kids? Are they going to have to pay for babysitters?
Yeah.
Are they going to have to take extra days off? Can they afford to take extra days off? Can they afford to pay for food whilst they're out there? Are there visas involved? There's so much additional cost.
There is a lot more than just flights.
To do with that.
Yeah.
Like, you might not want a abroad wedding.
Yeah. You might... Let's read on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I could see doing like sorry, hang on. Real quick.
We'll get there.
We could do like the sentimental thing in the church if that was important, and then a more lavish reception in commutable distance.
Sorry if you can hear my tummy.
My tummy is also going.
Okay, great.
We've got 4 people on this podcast
This
today.
podcast has the soundtrack of... Okay, carry on.
Right. Sorry. Wow, we are talking so much today.
Yeah.
OP says, I knew the money spent would make her anxious, and she's always dreamed of visiting Venice, so I waited to tell her until it was organised as a surprise.
Oh, that's what you do for a holiday, not your wedding.
Well, she didn't take it well, and she said I was a massive arsehole, and she's much preferred the church venue. She said it was too embarrassing to cancel it now that I've told people, but seems really mad. I'm confused since that venue was never practical, and I'm wondering if I am the drama here, or if she's overreacting.
Okay, should we do our initial judgments? I think I know what mine is.
I know what mine is too.
It's not very satisfactory.
Ready? Everybody sucks.
I'm saying everybody sucks, but he is a bit of a bigger asshole. Like, I think, I think they've both been. It sounds like they've both been a little bit. What's the word? Like, this is what's happening. No, this is what's happening, rather than
You're a
having
team, dude.
a communication with each other.
Because you want to love and be in a good relationship where you do things together.
But
This is not a great start.
I feel like going for a local church that has sentimental history is, and kind of maybe dictating that a little bit, is less arseholey than being like, no, I don't like that. It's unsuitable in my eyes. Mother, father, let us go to Venice. And, you know, I know they offered, I'm not saying he demanded it, but, you know, mother, father, I accept the money to pay for a Venice wedding.
This is just reminding me of Daddy, I want another pony. From what
All right, Veruca.
But was it Veruca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing you do for a birthday party or an anniversary or something where you are the only person planning, or a proposal. That's what you do this for. You don't go ahead, take money off your taking money from your parents if they offer is your prerogative as their child, but without consulting with your partner at all about what the arrangement is. Then book an abroad wedding and then send out the invites for it.
Yeah.
Because there'd be so many details that were probably missed that she might have wanted a say in.
Yeah.
Let alone the big things. There might have been small things.
I always find it really difficult to say. You're right. I definitely think in terms of the onus here, OP has more to blame than the person he's marrying, the partner. But I will also say I personally find it really difficult when I see that someone has good intentions. Like, what's happening is he's going, look, she's worrying about money. I don't need to worry about money. I don't want her to worry about money. I know she's always dreamed of this. I want to give her the wedding of her dreams. I've done this as a surprise, and now she's upset at me. Like, what? And now you're genuinely asking for help, you know? Like, I see the good intentions, but a phrase that has not left my mind recently is, hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
You can have the best of intentions and still not quite hit the mark,
And still
that's
hurt
what's happened
people.
here. I think clearly it's not just to do with money. She would have preferred the church venue. But also, you're right about the context of what it is. A wedding is something that in an ideal world we only do once, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that partners typically dream of, specifically if they're women. This is something that's been
normative
societally
stuff, yeah.
badgered into us to think about our weddings ever since we were like 3 years old, wearing your mum's knickers on your head as a veil. So
did you do that?
yeah, it's what you see in the movies. I will neither confirm
You
nor
did.
deny.
Oh, Shaba.
No, I didn't, because my cultural dream wasn't a
The
veil.
white veil.
Yeah, I did steal my mum's Mandy outfit though, and topped her around in her little red.
And you had your own one.
Yeah, I did, and that was really cool. But
Full
do you see what I mean?
circle,
Like,
yes.
to not be able to have that input there,
Yeah.
and to not plan it together. It could have been a really lovely moment if you're like, you know what, babe, I think we should do it in Venice. And if she was on board,
Yeah.
you could have planned that dream wedding together. Also, if you have so much money and you're worried about the church being too small, I do not at all for a second think that it's okay to be like, and therefore, no, this venue is not right. No, you can have a smaller intimate ceremony if that's what you want. You
Yeah.
could pay to make the church bigger if you got money to fly people to flip in Venice, you know, 2 large
Yeah.
families. But also, you could do it outside. You could do a little live streaming thing, whatever. Like, it could have been that this was really important for that
Yeah.
specific marriage ceremony, which is only 12 minutes to half an hour
I went
of your
to
day.
a wedding where the venue for the ceremony was too small for all the guests, and we were stood at the back, and like all the family were at the front. We weren't that close,
Sure.
but so many people were outside watching in
Exactly.
from the window.
Yeah.
And like that's because that's where the couple wanted to get married. That's where it was special to them. Long as family and close friends could be right at the front and in the venue, it didn't matter to them.
You could do it on the church grounds. There's more space outside. There were ways, baby.
Yeah.
There were ways. And you totally just said, nope, this is mine over yours. I do also
Yeah.
think, that's why I say everybody sucks, and I do maintain that the soon-to-be wife has done the same thing. It was like, mine, not having a conversation.
Yeah.
Just talk, dude.
And I
Just
think there
talk.
needs to be a recognition that there needs to be a deeper conversation, because I know there was a time when the concept, and there still is, where the concept of spending money that we have however big or small, would make you very anxious, and we'd need to talk about it.
Yeah.
But we would talk about it, and
Yeah.
often just speaking through the numbers would make you realize and be like, oh, this is fine. Like, I can see it now. Or it would make her go, actually, not a sensible decision. And I think that if you're not having those conversations with her, she is always going to be anxious. There's always going to be things like this coming up where you feel like you need to hide it or not have an open conversation with her in fear of worrying. Worry her. To be open with her. No, seriously. But
Worry your wife.
But say, this is a gift from my parents. There are no strings. I don't know what the exact terms are, but like, you know, just in my head, there are no strings attached. It's a gift. They really want to do this. Who are we to deny them?
No, but I will say, you can deny them.
You can deny them.
Absolutely
You can.
But this is why context is important, and this is why communication is important, because it might be that you're assuming there's no strings. Maybe there are strings.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe even if the parents aren't stipulating the strings, that's something that would make me feel really uncomfortable, because I'm like, Jesus, I could never repay you for something like this. And if they're then like, oh, we're going to pay for this, but we've paid for the wedding, so we'd really like you to invite these 200 guests. Yes. It really depends on how that's packaged. You could be like, no, I don't want this.
And she's now suddenly roped in on that. Sorry, I was thinking.
I know,
contextually. I can only think from my lens.
Of course.
But
it could also be that, more money doesn't necessarily mean better. It might be that she doesn't want that pomp and circumstance. I wouldn't want to go to Venice.
No,
I look at the... who are those people? The fancy ones with the crowns? The royals? The royal family? I forgot the word.
Heard it here first. The fancy ones with the crowns.
Those bougie people up at the palace. When they do their big weddings, right? We tuned into both of the ones that have happened in our lifetime. And everyone's like, oh, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? No. Yeah. No, it would not. The idea of that is a genuine nightmare. Yeah. I would not want my wedding to be that at all. At all.
Yeah. I wouldn't want my wedding...
Different strokes for different folks.
But I wouldn't want my wedding in a church. I wouldn't want my wedding in Venice either. I think there needs to be a conversation.
You need to talk.
We went for quite like a middle option with our wedding. We could have done it a lot cheaper. We could have done it for a lot more money.
And I will say, this is a good point. The wedding wasn't what you wanted, and it wasn't what I wanted. But it's what we both wanted.
It was a mix, yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But if I had just planned it my way, it would have been vastly different and significantly cheaper.
And if I planned it my way, I don't think it would have been more expensive if I'd done it my way. Do you think it would have been?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, totally.
I would have had a lot of pizza there. There wasn't a single pizza at our wedding, which I think is a crime.
I agree.
But no, I loved our wedding. What I'm saying
and
is...
And now I'm mad about it. No,
we
did talk about pizza bar.
You can tell if you had just run with your vision, wedding that I wouldn't have been happy with. If I'd run with my vision... a wedding that you wouldn't have been happy with.
But by having that discussion, it's a wedding that we were both happy with and loved through the compromise, and that's what it should be because it's the two of you. Yeah,
and it was our wedding. It wasn't your wedding that you invited me to, or my wedding that I invite. That's what this feels like. He has planned a wedding with his parents and then invited his fiancée.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe she did that in the beginning, so that, everyone sucks a bit.
Sorry, I just had a real big thought. Did she was it booked?
I don't know.
Because it says chose the location. Were suppliers involved? Because if you have paid for suppliers, oh my God. Those are also really big decisions. Yeah. So, yeah.
But final verdict?
I'm going to stick with everybody sucks here, but with OP, you are the biggest drama in this situation.
And you are actually being drama, and I can see where her reaction has come from. Yeah. There needed to be more communication.
But from both of you, babe, you both need to talk.
Yeah. One commenter says, you are the drama. You gave her no say in any of it, picked a venue, picked a different country, scheduled for a date, made the guest list, chose the invitations. Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Completely agree with that.
And that's a really good point. If she really wanted to go to Venice, there's probably a lot of things that she wants to do there that'd be harder around the wedding. She'd probably enjoy it more as a honeymoon. You could have totally done that. Splashed your cash and done a really, really lavish honeymoon.
My parents have paid for our honeymoon. Where do you want to go?
God, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Could you imagine having that resource? That would be so cool.
You said this as well. So another commenter has pointed out the fact that he was steamrolling the means and abilities of every guest. So, just because certain things are paid for doesn't mean childcare, passports. Some people might not have passports.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silly bean. I would absolutely call it off, says one commenter. That's ridiculous.
No, people are being quite firm about this.
Yeah. But you know what? I see why. It's ludicrous to think that you can go into something so joint whilst making such unanimous decisions. That's my biggest problem. Alright, am I the drummer for getting my brother's name and not my fiance's name tattooed on me?
Okay. I mean, when
I
those...
am intrigued.
I want to know the context, because when those two things are put together on a parallel, I'm like,
I see.
interesting. My brother and I are very close. We always have been. We hang out daily. We live together. You won't find a pair of siblings closer than us. I love that for you.
I do love it, but I also have that scene. Do you remember where, like, was it Ross in Friends went out with someone who was, like, too close with their brother?
No,
there are some siblings that are just too close.
Monica went out with a guy who was...
or
Rachel. Rachel went out.
I can't remember. It was someone.
It was someone.
Yeah, but, be close, but there's boundaries.
Yes, but you can be friend close.
I'm assuming this is just friends close, in which case that's wholesome and adorable, and I love that
did
for
your
you.
head get... You are bizarre.
Friends. It's friends.
Blame friends. My fiance knows that, and in fact, he's really good friends with my brother.
Cute.
Whenever my brother and I hang out, my fiance is usually there too. All three of us are pretty close. This sounds like a very cute network.
It does.
My brother has been going through some difficult times. We have a difficult relationship with our parents that's a constant source of drama in our lives. And on top of that, he's been going through a really rough breakup with his high school sweetheart. Oh. They'd been together for over a decade, and he really thought they always would be, so it's hard.
This sounds really tricky, and I'm so glad this to me solidifies, no, you just have like a healthy, cute relationship. I'm so here to support the sibling companionship.
Yeah. So OP carries on. Understandably, he's been feeling really low and just unloved. Oh. I know that because he talks to me about it, and my fiance knows that too. I wanted to surprise him with a tattoo of his name just to show him I adore him. I'm his biggest supporter, and I'll always be there for him.
Wow. You know what? Fair. Yeah, if you want to do that, it's your
Fair.
body.
It is your body. I'm not going to lie. I think my assumption when I heard that they got their brother's their name tattooed is that he had passed. And it was a commemorative thing.
Yeah. But no, it's cute. If he's feeling really unloved and you're like, I want to do a tribute, and maybe that's something that you do. You just have names of people that you love on your body like a little collage. Then sure.
Yeah.
Fair.
I didn't let my fiance know. I didn't think I had to, but the main reason why I didn't let him know is he is the world's worst secret keeper. Like, he'll tell what my Christmas gift is as soon as he buys it every year.
Wow. Okay.
So I went and got it done and showed my brother, and he loved it. And now he wants to get my name tattooed on him, so we match.
That is adorable.
That is sweet.
Really sweet.
It is sweet.
I'm sad that it's on this forum. I'm waiting for it to go wrong.
My fiance was there when I showed my brother, and he didn't say anything in front of my brother. Mm-hmm. When it was just the two of us, he started a huge fight that left us not on speaking terms. Oh dear. I'm not even sure whether I'm still engaged.
Oh, he took it real bad.
That's quite extreme.
Yeah.
Okay.
My one question here is, I have so many questions. What is his problem? Like, how did he bring it up?
Yeah.
What is his exact issue? Do you have other tattoos generally? What's his stance on tattoos generally? Because right now, this is a big red flag to me. I'm like, sorry, he's argued with you this much because of something that you've chosen to do with your body. That's not okay.
He says that if I was to get anyone's name tattooed on me, it should be his. That's not for him to dictate.
So he doesn't have a problem with tattoos.
Yeah. And I should have let him know so we could discuss it.
Why? It's your body.
She could have told you she was doing it, but it's not something for a couple to, like, discuss if it's happening.
Yeah, she could have asked you for advice, but you don't have any say on whether somebody gets a tattoo.
Yeah. Maybe that's normal for other couples, but we were never the type of couple that had to get permission from each other to do things that didn't affect us as a couple.
That sounds very healthy to me.
Yeah. What really bothered him, though, was I admitted that I would never get his name tattooed on me. Am I the drama?
Ooh, I feel like we need some more information about how that conversation went down.
Yeah.
Because did he get mad at the fact that you did it without letting him know? Maybe he's like, oh, I really wish you did tell me. And then maybe you were like, oh, but babe, you're so shit at keeping secrets. And so he felt hurt. And then maybe you're like, bye, and I'd never get your name tattooed. And maybe that's when he blew up. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are different moments where I could see
things spiraling.
And I could maybe justify a little bit more as to why it broke out into a bigger fight. But I still think you are not the drama, and that the partner is a massive drama. Like, who are you to walk away?
I also agree.
And question your leave someone so not speaking that you're not even sure if you're engaged anymore.
Yeah, that's tricky.
What?
One thing I want to mention, I realised I used she, her for OP, but we actually have no idea. I don't think OP has expressed their gender. So I made an assumption. I know.
It's normal.
I made an assumption there. Where my head's at is I have a personal feeling on getting a sibling's name tattooed on you in the way that OP did. It's not something I would do. I think even if I were that close to a sibling, I wouldn't do it.
Well, you're saying that based on a name, but you have tattoos on your body that represent people.
Family members, yeah.
So you do have tributes to your family on you.
I think I'm very
It's a name.
It's a name. Anybody's name, even your name, I wouldn't do. I barely even do my own initials on me.
How dare you?
know?
Our wedding is off.
The wedding happened already.
Yeah,
Too late.
I was trying to.
No, I know. So, I have my opinions on that, but putting that to one side, that was how this sibling relationship works. The brother really appreciated it. The sibling who got the tattoo, OP, was perfectly within their rights and autonomy to get a tattoo of whatever they wanted to get a tattoo of. And their fiance just sounds jealous. And that's a bit bizarre, because why would you be jealous of someone's sibling?
I wonder if it's coming from a jealousy or if it's coming from a hurt that it wasn't mentioned. Because if you are the kind of people that don't get permission and you have those healthy communication boundaries, except for the fact that he's so terrible at keeping secrets, maybe he's just hurt that you didn't say anything. In which case I could understand it.
Then be better at keeping secrets.
Yeah, or make that known in the conversation before you go on non-speaking terms with this person that you love. And are going to marry.
I just want to know why he has such a big issue with it.
Yeah.
Is it the fact that it's the brother's name? Is it the fact that it was a tattoo at all? Or is it the fact that
it's not his name?
That OP won't get his name?
Yeah. Or is it the fact that it wasn't spoken
Is it
about
some
beforehand?
kind of you love your brother more than you love me? And it's not a competition.
Also, I do just want to say about the, how would you feel if I got a tattoo for my siblings and not one that represented you? You know, that difference between a partner tattoo and a family tattoo.
I don't think I would mind. I got my family ones before I got one for you, and you never had any expectation for me to get one for you.
In fact, when you said I wanted to get one for me, I was just like, please no.
Yeah.
What if we break up?
But you are, I know we've had loose couple ones, but I don't see those as representing me.
No, you're right.
And you have a plan for a big piece that is for your family and not for me.
Fully dedicated to some of my loved
and
ones.
that doesn't bother me, because one, you're allowed to do whatever you want with your body, and I'm secure in our relationship without you having to get a tattoo for me. And two, I'm not in competition with your family. That's what my head automatically went to. Does the boyfriend think he's in competition with the brother? Because I don't feel love for a family member, like a sibling, like a blood relative, is different to the love you have for a partner, and there's not a competition between the two.
I agree. I also think I'm going to use words and I'm not sure. I'm going to just let them roll and see if I agree with myself when I say it. I also think that the security of a family tattoo in this context is different to the security of a relationship tattoo. You've gone through some shit with your brother. You're having really difficult times. You clearly have a really close bond. And because blood isn't blood is nothing, to be honest. Yeah. Really, truly.
But
in my
sibling
opinion,
relationship.
But a sibling relationship where you've grown up together, that is family. Right? And I feel like family in that sense, even if it's chosen family, the stuff that you've gone through means that this person will be in your life forever. Even if you fall out, even if you no longer speak in the future,
they'll still
that
always
person
be
is
your
going to
brother.
be so meaningful to you.
Yeah.
And therefore, I personally, it makes sense for me to immortalize that. If it feels less risky than in a relationship. I love you, but as we say all the time, you don't know what's coming in the future. Maybe you're going to grow in different directions, and a partner relationship is different to that sibling bond. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Sibling bonds can break down as well, and I can see somebody getting a tattoo for a sibling and then regretting it if something happens.
I'm using sibling bond as chosen sibling bond as well. Do you see what I mean?
But that can also break down. Too, sure. But the way I'm seeing it is, you have a sibling and you want to get something that represents them. Even if you fall out, you are still siblings. You still have that history, the growing up, those shared memories, the being around each other for those formative years, or at least some of them, or in some way, there is still that bond there. I get a tattoo for you, which I have done. I haven't got your name.
Yeah.
But we divorce. you're not still my wife,
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah,
like a
you're
sibling
right.
will always be a sibling,
Yeah, you're right.
but a partner won't always be a partner.
Yeah, my
If
mind then
things
goes,
break
you know, like,
down.
oh, well, I could get a tattoo for my mum, and then if, like, just the royal person, I'm not talking about my mum,
Yeah.
then say that mum does something so horrible that you no longer speak
And
with
you
them
might be
ever
like,
again.
you're not my mum anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get that as well.
But it does still feel different.
I
Can't
quite pinpoint it. Yeah.
The overall point being, babe, it's your body. No
Yes.
one should be telling you or being mad at you for wanting or not wanting
And
to get their name tattooed.
And I think it feels really uncomfortable that he's left them hanging
Yeah.
with whether they're still engaged. Nobody
not
should be in
okay.
that situation.
That's a big red flag for me.
Yeah, it should be like we've had a really big fight and we're not talking, but we're gonna work things through, or like he's called it off.
So, Pete, I agree. I stick with my decision. You are not the drama.
Not the drama.
You too.
Yeah, same.
9 out of 10 times, says a commenter, getting a partner's name tattooed on you is a terrible idea.
Not the drama.
I will.
Yeah.
I do specifically agree with the name thing.
Yeah.
Because you just can't change it. Like maybe people will look at us and be like, you know what? I think what you did is flaky. And if you want to say that, go ahead. I accept the criticism. It's what we wanted to do. For example, we got couples tattoos, bunnies.
Yeah.
Couples tattoos. They're not of bunnies. I was doing bunny quote marks, I should say.
Yeah.
Couples tattoos of pizza and pasta because, for reasons I won't go into, it's important in our relationship. Italy's important in our relationship. Food's important in our relationship. Yeah. So it made sense. But I am pasta and you are pizza. Individually,
I am literally
I'm
a
still
triangular
obsessed with
slice
pasta.
of dough.
And you are
cheese.
actually just dough. And so if we break up, it's still a tattoo
It's still
that
a
I would
tattoo
want
for
to
us.
have.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that symbolism makes so much more sense than a name. One thing that I will say, and I don't know where I'm coming from with this, but I do like the idea of having my kids' names tattooed on me.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one exception in my head.
You would do kids' names too.
Yeah.
Only because I have a design idea in my mind that I love and I really want that.
I don't think
And it works better with words.
I would get it still. I'm very like just no names.
You wouldn't do names.
But I can see it's the one that I could see me having an exception for and that I think is approvable is a name tattoo. But I definitely get something for our kids. Like a date or, you know, something,
but
whatever.
not a partner. And isn't that interesting? Because like half the partner is typically in the kids if we're going genetically.
Yeah, but your kids will always be your kids.
Yeah.
I think that's how I see family. Even with chosen family, there's always like
You will always be my brother. You will always be this very meaningful connection.
And like if we get divorced, if we break up, you will always be a very meaningful part of my life path and journey. And I would hope that if we were ever to, I hope we never break up.
Yeah.
But I hope if we ever did, we would remain in each other's lives in some
I
way.
need to touch some wood.
Thank you. Shaba touched my head.
Wait, touch the shelf and I'll touch your head. There you go.
But you won't be that person anymore. And then there'll be another person.
Yes,
that's what it is.
That's the thing. With a partner, there's a chance that that's replaceable.
You're replaceable, Shaba.
That's what it is.
No, you're not.
No, you're so
not,
right.
though.
That's why it feels different. As a partner, in the future, because tattoos are immortalized, someone else might then take that position where it will be difficult. But if you lose your brother, there is no more new brother coming in that will take over that. You could have a new person that's like a chosen brother to you. That will be an addition, not one instead of. But there's only one partner.
Well, in typical monogamous relationships, which is like a majority of the population, and I think this is the context that this has been said in as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And that's where we're coming from too.
I'm so glad that we figured that out.
Okay, good job.
Yes, because I'm very big about the principle things. Like, I need to understand the why. I'm so glad we got to the why.
Okay.
Yay!
Should we read some more comments?
The next comment.
So the next comment was you only have one brother, but you can have numerous fiancés.
If we just read ahead, we'd have gotten to our realization sooner.
Yeah.
I totally agree with this. Thank you for being so profound, commenter from the
But
internet.
that's not quite what we said though, because we actually said you can have multiple siblings and get all their names tattooed, but you'd only have, for most people, one fiancé at a time. That's the point. And like
but that is what they were trying to say. You only
yeah.
got one brother, but you can have multiple fiancés.
Yeah, but you could have more than one sibling and get all their names tattooed. You could have a whole list down your back.
It's not that. It's not an exclusive spot.
Yes.
One is expandable, the other is not.
Yes.
I sounded a bit like Dr. Seuss there.
I get it though.
Drama.
Am I the drama for asking my boyfriend to suck up
In bunnies.
to my parents if he wants gifts from them. That sounds interesting.
This has been such a spicy episode.
Yeah.
I'm here for the drama, I have to say. All right.
Okay.
Whew.
Take it
My
away.
boyfriend, Tim, and I have similar financial backgrounds, but different cultures. I don't know your age,
Okay.
and I don't know your gender, and this is frustrating me. His family is relatively hands-off, and he's grown up with a lot of freedom to make his own decisions with plenty of room to bunnies learn and make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Opie's being so shady to the boyfriend, and
Okay.
it's been one sentence.
Yeah.
My family, on the other hand, is fairly strict and has a lot of high expectations when it comes to performance, decorum, and success. This is
Decorum.
just shadier and shadier.
It is coming off a little bit like,
My
and that
boyfriend
makes me
has low
better.
standards, and their family have low standards. That's what it's sounding like.
Yeah.
Our culture also places a heavy emphasis on respect, especially to our elders. This person sounds Asian.
Yeah. Western guy. The OP is Asian from
It is
Asian
sounding
background.
like-
Yeah, because
But
it
they've said
sounds
different cultures.
similar to us, but that's not how you would describe it.
Okay, OP says, Tim and I are happy together, but our only point of major conflict is how he deals with my family. Here's the thing. My parents are super generous to my siblings' partners, but not so much with Tim. One
Oh.
of my siblings also has a partner from the same culture as Tim. Okay, that was my first thought. I was like,
Okay,
is it
yeah.
because Tim's white?
Yeah.
Which is what I'm assuming. But okay, so I don't believe it's a race issue, says OP.
Right.
Tim constantly complains and is offended that my parents don't spend as much money on him. Tim, mate,
Why does grow up come to mind? I don't mean to be rude. I can understand how that can feel, but honestly, as somebody who's had to experience coming into your family with a very different treatment, like initially as well, it's just sometimes that's the way the world is, and that's your that's your partner's parents. Let them do what they want to do. For whatever reason, they don't want to spend more money on you. Sure, that's a little bit upsetting, but just move on.
I really have an issue about this too. And it's in terms of these family dynamic situations, who the hell do you think you are to feel like you need to demand equal treatment
Yeah.
alongside other siblings? This is somebody else with their money.
Yeah.
If they want to spend more money on one person versus another person, that is their decision. Why do you expect this? Just like,
Yeah.
why do you expect to get inheritance just because? It just bugs me.
Yeah,
It just
no,
bugs me.
I hear what you're saying.
Stop telling other people what to do with their money.
Yeah, and also,
It's as simple as that.
there's context as well. So, Tim is a boyfriend, not a husband, and in some cultures that's treated differently. How long has Tim been part of the family compared to the other partners? Because it could be for less time, and in which case some families may treat that differently. And you know what? Might just be that the OP's parents like the other partners more.
Exactly. And it could be a class thing. I'm going to add that to your little
Yeah.
list of things because, OP said that they come from similar financial backgrounds. Maybe in another with another partner, they don't.
Yeah.
And so therefore they're wanting to spend more because they're basing it on some sort of like merit or need. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we keep reading?
Yes.
I told him that I support him if he doesn't want to suck up to my parents, his words, but he shouldn't expect preferential treatment. But he says that gifts should be generously given and fairly spread out if other partners are receiving them. I say that gifts from my parents aren't something that we are entitled
Exactly.
to. Exactly that. Who are you? You know what? You should not get gifts, Tim. You should get less gifts specifically because you're being a little poo-poo head.
No, there's so much entitlement going on, and it's like it's not saying you're not allowed to feel a little bit hurt that clearly there's preferential treatment going on, but deal with it.
I'm
Like,
so sad
that's
to
how
that.
they're spending their money. And if there is a clear reason, and it's because Tim doesn't, in his words, suck up to the parents.
I do see this. There is a separate issue here, right? And if there is an inequality of treatment, like Tim feels like for whatever reason he is being mistreated by the parents, make it about that. Don't make it about the gifts.
Yes.
You clearly don't have an issue with the mistreatment. It's just the gifts.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not buying it, Tim. I'm not buying it. Grow up. Let's read on.
Go on.
I'm especially frustrated, says OP, because I feel like Tim doesn't have to do much to show respect to my parents. For example, we recently went to their home for dinner with my family, and I suggested that Tim bring some wine or fruit as a gift to show that we were thankful for their hospitality since my mother was cooking.
Right.
He said that they shouldn't invite people over if they expected a gift.
Huh?
Tim
But
sounds
he's expecting a gift.
ridiculous.
He sounds like a knob.
He really does. My brother and sister's partners each brought something, one a cake, the other some flowers, and I could tell that my mum was touched and my father slightly irritated at Tim.
But
Tim, I wouldn't get you gifts, dude. You're being a...
But we take stuff over to each other's families when we're invited for dinner because that's something that you do.
We just take things to your family because they like donuts and stuff to my mum's. And like recently, if we're going to see my mum, we'll give her things because that's just what you do. To people that you
someone
love.
invites you for dinner. Like, you don't even have to spend money on it. It's just like, here's some chocolates, here's a cake I made.
This is honestly boiling my blood, and I've just realised why. Tim is pissing me the F off because he is expecting this gift thing to be an onus. He's like, I deserve gifts.
Yeah.
He's putting rules on gifts. I deserve gifts because other people get gifts. I'm saying I'm not going to give gifts because just because I'm going there doesn't mean that they should get a gift. Gifts are not about rules. Gifts are from the heart.
Yeah.
You do it because you want to.
Yeah.
That's
Sounds
what my
like
problem
Tim
is.
is lucky to get any gift at all.
Tim is triggering me because this feels like a narcissist that I have had a very nasty experience with, and Tim needs to get in the bin.
I can see it and I can feel it off of you. Carry on.
Well, Tim says that I'm the drama for not fighting for him more and for trying to force him to conform to my family's values.
Doesn't sound like there's any forcing. It sounds like OP has gone, if this is what you want, this is what they would expect.
Babe.
Yeah, give what you get. Maybe they don't give you gifts or nice gifts because you don't bring anything over. And
because you go and eat their dinner and don't give them anything because you're being a...
It doesn't need to be reciprocal, but I'm just like, if this is the opinion he has over gift giving and receiving, I just know he's got other shit opinions. You can just feel it, right?
And he's saying to conform to my family's values. What? Kindness? What?
Taking some wine over when they invite you and cook you a meal. That's not like conforming to values. That's just
especially
basic.
If you can see it. Someone's bought a cake. Another couple's bought flowers.
You are the only one empty-handed.
And then you're like, why did they treat me different, babe?
And it's not about the gifts. It's not the parents going, oh, you didn't buy me anything, I don't like you. It's probably to do with like, Tim doesn't think of us. Tim doesn't show the same
Tim
courtesy.
thinks about them fine. I think Tim thinks about them in some calculated and manipulative way. That's what's happening.
Are you triggered?
I
You're
am.
okay.
I really think I am. I can kind of see where he's coming from. No, OP, do not stoop to Tim's pooey standards. But I also know where my parents are coming from too. Oh, says OP, and here is an example from Tim of their unfairness in case it helps with the context. I love a good bit of context.
Yeah.
For each partner's birthdays, my parents take everyone out to dinner. For the other two, we went to a really high-end and exclusive restaurant. For Tim, they still took us out and paid for everything, and Tim got a gift, but his meal was less fancy. But still nice in my opinion. Each entree cost about $40 to $50. What?
How much are these high-end restaurants? Holy crap. Do you know, I'm sorry, Tim sounds like a knob.
Tim is... I hate it when people say this. And when they're like, you guys should break up. This person's not good for you. Because I'm like, how much insight can you really get from one post? We need to be careful when we're talking about isolated incidents. But there are so many red flags in this isolated incident. I would genuinely be questioning whether Tim is a good supportive partner.
It felt like a really non-spicy one to begin with. And then very quickly it was like, oh no, because that indicates something else is going on here.
I'm also trying to think, am I saying this because of my bias?
Yeah.
But even away from my bias, which I know I can't step too far away from, this just sounds so...
I'm coming from the perspective where, like, for a time period and in certain contexts, I've seen this as well. And I've seen it happening to other people. I've been on the receiving end of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's not my place. It can hurt me. But that's very different to then being like, no, I must be treated the same. And it's like, why?
You know what, Tim? It sounds like you are being treated the same.
It
really
sounds like
does. You're still getting fancy gifts and fancy restaurants. You're still going to restaurants. You know when you're not being treated the same way, you aren't doing the same.
Yeah.
If you're not bringing something when other people are bringing something, someone's going to be irritated because customarily that's what you do. Bring a freaking cake.
And what's the context? Maybe the restaurant was like, less fancy because the parents thought Tim would like that more, as in the specific restaurant. Maybe it was more tailored to him.
Get out of here.
Just
$40 to $50 on a food, and you're saying...
an entree.
And you're saying... What's an entree?
Isn't that a starter?
I thought that was the main.
Oh, that was the main.
Regardless...
I still think that's expensive.
That's so bloody expensive.
That is. I'm just thinking, even like fillet steak on a menu at some places we've been to is like £30, which is probably what that is. So that is quite an expensive
Get
meal.
in the bin, Tim. Get in the bin. All right.
Tim in the bin.
Let's quickly take a look at these comments before I pop from rage.
Yeah.
Not the drama. I'm really curious what culture is from. This isn't the norm.
Oh, where they don't expect gifts when someone invites you over.
And another commenter has said the culture of having no manners. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
This is totally not a cultural thing.
No.
Tim is just being a knob.
Yeah. I like that word.
Knob.
Tim the knob.
Knob.
Another commenter says, the irony, Tim expects big expensive gifts, but when OP's family hosts a dinner, they shouldn't expect a hostess/host gift. His math is not mathing here.
And do you know why his math is not mathing here? And this is why I'm not saying he is a narcissist or using manipulative and gaslighting tendencies, but when people are manipulative, when people, consciously or otherwise, their narrative that they live in their mind does not match with the real world. And that's why it's so difficult to be around people like that, because you're like, this doesn't make sense. But then it makes so much sense to them. You start to question your own sanity and just like, wait, does it make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. Tim is not making sense. The math does not math.
Yeah.
This is a red flag. See it for what it is.
Because it's not
Protect
coming
yourself.
from a rational place.
It's not.
At the very best, in my opinion, this is coming from Tim having extreme entitlement to potentially other things going on as well.
Dude. Not the drama. I was ready to be on your boyfriend's side, but bringing flowers or a bottle of wine is something sweet. It isn't sucking up. It's basic manners. He sounds spoilt and entitled.
Yes.
At best.
At best.
And manipulative and abusive at worst. Oh, all right. Wow.
That was
a spicy episode.
It was. I didn't expect the last one to be so juicy.
Ooh, it's woken me up for sure.
Okay. If you did enjoy listening, then you could give a little rating on whatever platform you are listening to this on.
It would mean a lot if you can go onto your platform and rate us. It really helps out. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can also give us a follow over on Instagram at 1-800-DRAMA-POD. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a like and subscribe if you want to. And you can also pop over to 1-800-DRAMA-POD on Instagram and give us a follow.
I would really love to know. Please tag us and let us know your thoughts on the slipper socks thing, because I'm not over it, mate.
Fine.
I'm not over it. You're not as bad as Tim, by a long shot.
Am I?
But we have discussions.
Let us know.
Thanks for tuning in, my loves. Be kind.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.